My name is Barbara J. Beckley. I have to start off because you're probably like, who is this person? Well, I'm so excited because after as of today, we are starting a new show that I'm sponsoring, and I'm just so grateful to sponsor this show because it's been in the works for over probably a year. Now I'm thinking about this. I think it is a year. Serena will correct me if I'm wrong because she's about to come because she's my co-host. But I just had to just say, first of all, you're going to have to come every Thursday. It's a night show. Get done with dinner, sit down, nice seat in the living room, sit back, put on this wonderful show called Help. HHH is Heal Humanity Show. And we are starting right now. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you for all the viewers that I know that are out there watching us right now to understand that making a difference in the world is so important. And with this show, you're going to see us shining a light on that. And I just want you to know that when you're viewing this, please share because we're going to come every Thursday and we're going to show hearts. We're going to show the heart of humanity. And this is what Serena Buffalino does every single minute of the day. And I'm so honored to be a part of this. This is not about Barbara J. Beckley. This is about healing the world. And with that, before we bring this queen of queens on, and we're going to have some wonderful conversations, well, you got to get to know her a little bit, right? So let me put her on for a second.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. To give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
This day has came. This day has came. Wonderful queen. I bow down. I bow down to you. Love you.
You're way too kind. And honestly, I love you, Barbara. Like, you have the most energy, contagious energy, and you have such a heart of gold. I met you, as you were saying, a year ago. You never forgot about me or help heal humanity. And even though life got busy and COVID happened, you always still checked in. And because of you, this is happening. So it's my first time ever being a co-host. I'm so excited to be doing this with you. I'm even more excited that we get to bring light and love and hopefully wisdom into the service of giving, of loving, and just opening your heart to humanity and giving back. So yes. I'm excited for today.
Yes. Now I laugh at both of us because I know, and we said this before, that it seemed like you and I are like the power pack people. And then when your board comes around us, they're like, okay, we still got to get some things done. We got to get some things done. Yeah, we know, but we're just. And then when I met the board, the new board, because I never really met him, I'm like, we're all energetic. I mean, you got Christopher, you got Alex. I know she's looking at us right now. I mean, it's just when you get a team of people that have that heart to go together and we come with that same mindset, it's powerful. I mean, we see it. We've been meeting every week and I see it all the time when we meet, all the time.
It is. And, really that's what it comes down to is finding the right team, Help Heal Humanity, we'll get into the whole story. We are quite new. We are very grassroots, but even in the 3 years that we've been trying to figure it out, what it comes down to always is finding the right team, right? The people who will stick with you, the people who will put in the time. And that's exceptionally hard because everybody who is working under the Help Heal Humanity family, we are all literally working out of the goodness of our hearts because we believe in the power and the strength of giving ourselves and our talents and our resources to make the world a better place. And so, yeah, like you've recently met our American board. We're very small but mighty. And that board does consist of some of the most amazing people that I have been working with. And our audience, everybody will get to meet them live in person next Thursday and the following Thursdays. We're always going to have a new HHH representative telling their story, giving their kind of their reason, their why, and so, yeah, I'm excited to just get into it and introduce, who we are, how we started, how we got here, where we're going, and how.
We're going to put some pins because we have some time and we really want to stretch it and make people really understand the heart of this particular organization. And not just this one, but we're going to also, on like the second part, like tonight's going to be a short show because we're just really getting into Help Heal Humanity. We want to get the people to understand that. But moving forward, for every other show, we're going to bring other organizations too, like-minded ones, and give you an insight of what they do as well. But we wanted to start because the basic main thing is Help Heal Humanity. It's HHH, and Serena, I always tell her that. I said this is the glue right here. So Serena, I want to start off because I always ask these questions. What made you? Now, you just didn't come this queen overnight because you're royalty. You are royalty. Just to let you know that. You're royalty. But royalty has its adventures. It has its challenges. And for you to take a step this big to help the world and knowing that the world needs what you do, and we just showed a little film of that's just some of the things she does. It's a small, but I want you to just kind of just take us back. Just, let's go back when you just was like, not even thinking about this and like just Mrs. Little Serena.
You know what? You're so right, because none of my dreams or aspirations in life were to be where I am today. So that's really just going with my heart, my gut, my instincts, and then organically it just led into this. So that's also why I love telling the story, because really, if I could do it and, the inspiration of my students could do this, it's quite incredible what the world could do if we came together. Right. And so I guess my story, I've told it numerous times, but a long story short is luckily, gratefully for me, I was brought into this world with unconditional love. I had incredible family, incredible support, and incredible love. And so my family, especially my mom and dad, they wanted the best life possible for me. And so they always instilled education. You need to do education. Without that, you're not going to get anywhere in life. Mm-hmm. Now, funny enough, because both my parents never even graduated from elementary school, right? My parents were immigrants. They were, they came from Italy to Canada, and they couldn't read or write. I mean, up until the day both my parents passed, which, that happened in the last not even decade of my life, they still didn't know how to read and write. But again, it was the hard work, it was the determination, and it was the push on me to do good in school. But because my mom and dad couldn't read to me and they couldn't help me, I struggled in school. And so as much as education was the most important thing for me, it was very hard for me to grasp it and understand it because I didn't have the extra support at home. And if you can't tell, I had some pretty good social skills. I was chatty catty. I was a little bit cute. And I used kind of my social skills and my intuitive life skills to get me through in life. But academics and education did not work for me. And so, it was quite interesting to me when I made a very conscious decision to focus on school. So from elementary school up until just about entering the senior level of high school, I hated school. And I spent an enormous amount of time in the principal's office because I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. And I didn't want people to see that I was stupid or incapable or, not competent. So I just used my social skills to get by. And then it wasn't until, like I said, my senior level year where some traumatic things happened in my life. And it was through the tragedies that I took a step back and I reflected and I said, okay, well, what can I do to be better? What could I do to get ahead in life? And that was the first time in my life, in that moment, I decided to focus on school. And so it was exceptionally hard for me because I was so far behind. But then I started to apply myself and I started to really try, and I sought out extra help and support because I did have a learning disability. I couldn't read and write the way the rest of the other kids did. So a very long story short, I ended up becoming what I hated, which was a teacher. And I wanted a teacher who didn't kick me out of class. I wanted a teacher who didn't call me all the inappropriate things because of my inappropriate behaviors, but somebody who would maybe just sit down with me and actually get the time to understand me and understand the way that I learned. And aside from the academics, really tune into me. Yes. And from that moment on, there was some mental health that originated in my family. Education was so important. So, I'd say at 15 years old, I made a very, very conscious decision to dedicate myself to education and to mental health. And out of that, I ended up becoming a teacher, and I became a specialized special education teacher who worked with kids that were in jail, in detention centers, in mental health hospitals, in foster care. And I dedicated my life to really the life skills, the social skills, and the mental health associated with not only child development, but human development. Yes. And as a teacher, that's how this all kind of began for me, was, helping and guiding and leading and learning. And, to today, I am constantly learning. But, because I overcame so many challenges in my life that I never thought I was equipped to actually deal with, it made me stronger. And then it made me believe in myself enough to tell my story to other kids so that they could open up and I could be inspiring to them and they were inspiring to me. And then in my small little classroom of some of the most at-risk youth in Toronto, we not only put in more community service and hours into the city of Toronto by learning how to be in the world, but we ended up impacting ourselves, our community, and that is what eventually led me to Haiti. And then from Haiti is kind of where the beginning of Help Heal Humanity started.
So now this is, first of all, thank you for doing, I know you kept saying the short version of it, but it's good to hear the long version, because like we said, you took time to get from the Serena that, like you said, going back in your childhood, not doing well in school, you knew that there was a certain thing with you that you wasn't learning the right way. So instead of sitting there tackling that, you were just like, you know what? Forget you. I don't like to teach. I don't like school. I'm done. Whatever you want to do, I am done with this. And I love your story because it shows, first of all, that you understand the connections there with the students now that you deal with, because you were there. And every time, if a child comes to you, and this is funny, I'm just thinking about, I can just see this happening. If a child comes and say, Miss Serena, I don't understand. I was there. I know what you're talking. I mean, you could just look at their eyes and say, I hear you. I hear you. I know exactly what you're talking about if you're struggling. And that's what makes you so wonderful and unique, in your teaching aspect because you've been there, you struggled.
I still do struggle. You do know, like, I mean, even I struggle because I will not settle, right? I'm determined. I'm open to possibilities. I won't just, I could have stayed content in my classroom doing what I did exceptionally well. But then again, the more I put myself in my students in these uncomfortable settings of, teaching them humility and teaching them life skills and social skills, did I start to actually realize what are the problems facing youth? What are the problems facing adults? What are the problems associated with mental health and well-being? And the more I learned and the more I engaged myself, the more I realized that I do have this gift of patience and love and understanding, and that for no other reason than to be of benefit to my students, it grew and it continues to grow. And again, I say to this day, my students or the communities that we serve, whether it's in Canada, the US, Spain, Belize, Haiti, Cambodia, those are the people. Those are the people in the communities that inspire me daily. And although it is a lot of work and a lot of dedication and a lot of, constant, learn by doing mistakes, and it's an ever going evolution. I'm committed to it because even when I do get tired or I do get burnt out, it's not about me, and when you learn that it's not about you, everything kind of changes. I guess the closest thing would be like parents once they have children, their life changes because they know that their life is now about their children. Yeah. Now, I don't have children, but I have communities and students.
Wait. Let me take that back. You do have a lot of children. And you know what? By saying that, you're bringing me right into this short video I want to show how many children Serena really has. I want to show everybody this clip.
My name is Serena Buffalino. I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. My career started off as a special education teacher. When my students found out that there were kids in this world that did not have the right to go to school, inspired them. The concept behind the Haiti School Building Project was a small handful of youth in Toronto would help a small handful of youth here in Haiti. The Haiti School Building Project finally opened up last year, September 2018. It has successfully been running for 7 months now, and what I have seen is nothing shy of beautiful. One person with the support of others can literally transform the planet.
Those are your children.
You know what? They were my children. And as I was saying, like, I only work with at-risk youth, at-risk populations. We now call them, vulnerable youth and vulnerable communities as the language is changing. But when I worked in partnership with the government. All my students came to me from mental health hospitals, from foster care, from jails, like very extreme settings. And their life was extremely difficult, difficult in a way that I really, truly believe none of us would ever understand. And I think if we did just spend some time with a lot of these people all over the world, the homeless people, the people who are facing food insecurities, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, mental health, because they go one in one. I think a lot of people turn a blind eye to them. Like, they just cut them off from society, or they have maybe very harsh opinions about them. But I think honestly, truly, that if you did just step outside yourself and be there for them for just an hour in your life, you will see and understand their stories, and your heart will open, and you will want to learn how to be able to help and support. And, and sometimes I say, sometimes I will be extremely silly. Like there'll be such an extreme situation. And hello, everyone.
Got a lot of people showing a lot of love,
Yeah, we do. And so like sometimes I'll say like it will be such an extreme, like, and I mean extreme, like we don't even talk about these things in public because they're that extreme. And sometimes I will just like turn around and become like completely silly and inappropriate, and all the kids will stop, or now adults will stop and they kind of look at me like, who is this woman? But it takes them out of their extreme moment and it puts them in a different moment. And if I could be that person, even for 1 hour, one day, or many days to come, to get you to get out of your circumstances, the harsh realities, and get you to think differently and or smile, then I say just that in itself is an incredible act of kindness. And so it's not always about the big checks and the big support, which we need, but sometimes it's just literally walking down the street and lending a smile to somebody, or passing them something so small like a sandwich. And those little acts of kindness, I always say that if everyone did that just a little bit and made giving without expecting anything back in return as a part of their day-to-day life, not only is it going to change you as the giver, and it does change you as the giver more than the receiver, but our whole world can shift based on that kindness and that love. And if we can start to teach people, young age, straight up to elderly and everything in between, that kindness and love and caring is more important than money, pride, ego, numbers, stats, likes. That our world, if that can become a little bit more of a mainstream, then I think it will start to shed light on what is really happening in our world and how we, because I don't think if we wait for our governments, or if we wait for the big people with the money, I don't think we're going to get the results. It really starts with each and every single one of us. And if we can start to get the people and all humanity to start to think that way, then we are going to create a much better understanding of ourselves and others, and make the world just a little bit nicer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're just awesome. Oh, I just want to hug you. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Now, what I want to do is, I know you talked about how you started, basically you were struggling. You became this awesome teacher now because you understand, like I said, you got the connection with children. Now, from that point, Serena, now this other part, like you said, you're giving. You have this wonderful heart of giving that came into play, because I know you were just teaching first, but then from that point you just said, okay, I'm taking now the next step. So when did that happen? Because I know it turned to that point.
So what ended up happening was I was having really good results with the youth, and thankful for the people who were supporting me. They funded an incredible program where I got to take 15 of some of the hardest to serve youth and build a program that was entirely built by me and rehabilitate the youth. And so I thought the best way that I could teach them is by bringing them out into the community and giving them the experience of learning by doing, right? Because textbooks are hard, especially if you don't even know how to read or write. You know what I mean? Like those basic skills that a lot of the people that I'm servicing, and even now the communities that I'm servicing, they don't have, because they never had the right to education. So they don't have the educational skills, and they don't have the funds, and they don't have the money. But what they do have is a heart and a spirit. And if I can tap into that, and if I can bring that and show you something, how to use that heart and spirit for good, things can change. So my students believed in me. And what I did was I said, Miss B, we're going to go out on Tuesday. We're not going to look at textbooks in this, program. We're going to go out onto the streets. On one day we went, we worked with all the local shelters in Toronto. So we worked with Habitat for Humanity because they have a warehouse store. right? So they would learn how to work in a store every Monday at Habitat for Humanity. On Tuesdays, very faithfully, and again, this is where my life changed on the Tuesday feeding programs at the homeless shelter. And the homeless shelter was a full industrial kitchen. We were in the back. We showed up at 9 a.m. We were with the cooks. We were learning how to cook. We were getting the meals ready. Then we were setting up the meals, and then we were serving the meals. And then when everybody left, we were shutting down the kitchen. So now my students are learning how to operate in the kitchen. They're learning how to cook. They're learning how to interact with others, because now they need to feed the homeless, and they need to go up to them and say, would you like coffee? Would you like tea? What would you like in your coffee and tea? And, we have this option and we have this option. And my students were so timid and so scared to do this. But I said, don't worry, Miss B's got you, and we're all together, and we all got each other, and we're going to go help other people. And trust me, we can't do anything wrong. We can't do this wrong. And if we do something wrong, somebody's going to be there to show us how to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
My students had no self-esteem, no self-confidence. They didn't feel like they had any self-worth. And now they're going into the community. We also did like Value Village, because we were stocking up all the clothes at the Value Villages. We were working at the Red Cross, like you name it. Some of them wanted to work in construction. So we went to some construction sites. Some of them wanted to work in nature. So we were going to, sustainable projects, and we were just volunteering our time all over. And they started to be like, oh my God, me, who everybody hates and nobody likes, I'm doing something to help somebody else. Like all of a sudden their life had some form of purpose. Their life, they were able to do something to help somebody else. And that made them feel amazing, because they've been ignored most of their life. Right. And as soon as they tapped into that ability,
I was just thinking, Serena, you gave them purpose. You showed them that they had purpose and they had gifts to help others. And you're talking about textbook. No, that is just true learning of the world. So you did it. Keep going. I'm sorry. I just had to just say that, because a textbook can tell so much, but when you get out there in the world with people that are in need, and you're showing children, you're leading children to do that. It's just amazing how that helps them.
And that's what happened. We didn't even realize that this was happening, to be quite honest. We were just doing what we were doing because the ultimate goal was, I had these youth for 2 years. So by the time they left my program, they would be rehabilitated back into life, and they would have a working resume of at least 3 volunteer placements with references that they are actually able to do the work, in the hopes that they will get a job and have, again, some purpose in life. Mm-hmm. But little did we know that we were actually impacting our entire city of Toronto. So you have Toronto's most at risk, the kids that everybody has given up on, going out into the community with me. And now we're impacting our entire city, and people are starting to notice, like, wait, that class was here today, and now they're there tomorrow, and now they're here. And believe it or not, my students and I won the award for putting in more community hours than any other program in the GTA. Like, that is massive.
That is amazing.
It is. Amazing. I still get goosebumps.
I know. I just felt it too. I'm like, wait a minute. It went up my back. Serena, you give me goosebumps, lady. Oh my God.
And that was it. Like, that's really, it was unintentional. It was real. It was all driven from the heart. And it was all a way for me to try to get them to use their pain and their suffering and the hurt, because that's what it is. We are all experiencing hurt, pain, neglect, trauma, anger, resentment. Like, this is usually what is built in us, and we don't know what to do with it. Yeah. But if we take that and we actually use it in a productive way, it changes you.
Changes. You can, when you think about it, Serena, you can't help but not be changed. just a little bit. Some people like, I don't want to do. No, believe me, you start doing the work like that, it will change you. And I want to give an example. We're going to go back to your story, but just what you're talking about doing instead of just seeing and just reading. So every year I started doing, it's been 5 years now, that in my job, they adopt a child. So at Christmas time, you adopt a child that's less fortunate, that's in a home, basically, like you said, battering and all that stuff going on, or women and children that are in a shelter, and they just want their child to have a gift. They're just looking for their child that has something that they've been wanting for that year. So our company created Adopt a Child year, every year. So me, at first I said, oh, this is kind of nice. I said, okay, I can give a little bit, get a present. So they gave us this long list of children that needed it. So you have the name of the child, the age, what grade they are in, and then what they want, like 3 items that they said that they want from Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So I picked for the first year I did it, I picked one child. And I said, oh, this is nice. So she was 6 years old. And all she wanted, Serena, you know what she wanted? She just wanted a set with a comb and a brush.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, okay, she probably want a Barbie doll or a little, I'm just thinking all these little toys that, a child would want. And all she wanted was a brush and a comb. And I told myself, boy, I'm tearing up already just thinking about this. And I told myself, no, I'm getting her more than that. I'm getting her the brush and first I got the big set because I just went there. I just went bonkers. When I went to the store and got it, I was just going crazy with after that. And I just got a whole set. I not just, the whole thing for, a little girl, anything with hair stuff. And then I got her toy, a little Barbie doll. Then I got like the clothes with the set. I mean, Serena, I went gangbusters by the time I got done by my, so I get this.
But you know what it is too? Sorry to cut you off. It was how that little girl was so humble. And the fact that you knew that all she wanted was a comb and a brush made you want to give her so much more.
You just hit it right on the nail, Serena. And that's why I was like, and then I was like, this is all she wants. So real quickly with the story at the end of it. So basically we had to bring them to the job. We all wrapped our gifts up and everything. And then they would just pick it up from our desk and then they would just take it and then it would go to, wherever. So I said, okay, good. I did my job. Yay, right? I'm happy. I hope I made a child happy. And then I thought about this. I said, but I want to do more. I would like to see a smile on her face. I would like to see her mother. I would just like to see that. So I kind of emailed the person that was over it. I said, is there a way that they said, oh yeah, we got a whole group of people from the job that does the other part of it. That was just the first part. I said in the back of my mind, I'm like, why'd you tell me that? I want to be a part of that. So now what I do, now that's 5 years in, I adopt at least 10 children a year. I know I went from 1 to 10. And I go and we give them the gifts. We put the Santa hats on. They come to the school. They open the presents. Yeah. And I'm telling you that that's why I know how you feel. And I know how important this is. That's why I'm telling this story, because Serena is doing such a
I'm trying. And we are trying.
But it takes like you said, it takes a team. It takes a lot of people. And like you always say, Serena, when people give their time, not just the money. I know we need the money. I know things have to work. We get that. We're going to, but when you take your time and you go out and you see the faces of the children, of the adults that are in need, that's when it's a whole nother level of, you just have to do this. And now I understand more and more. So that's why I'm so hooked onto you. I know you're like, Barbara, let go. I'm not going to let go of HHH. That's why I'm so hooked, because once you get out there, like you just said, with the children, what you did, that just opens up your heart to say, I just feel like I got to give more. Yeah. I just got to make a difference here. If it's just 1 or 2 people. Yeah.
And every little bit. And again, I would have never believed this if I didn't end up becoming and doing this, that every little bit helps. So here's Alexandra. She's our president in the USA, and I cannot wait for everyone to meet her. Oh my God. I can't say enough good things about this woman. Like she's a soul sister. We say we're love puddles all the time. phenomenal woman. And next week, everyone will meet her. And her story is also phenomenal. But, you know, I was extremely, extremely content being a teacher. I was making a profound difference in their lives, and they were making a profound difference in my life. And together we were impacting our community. And again, none of this was intentional. And I think that's it. I think like having our open hearts and just following our gut and our instincts, it continued to lead us. And I will never forget this day because, you know, I had been asked on numerous occasions to be either a principal or a superintendent. And I was like, no, like, I mean, the money's phenomenal, but I'd always say no, like I love being in my classroom. And that was because the leaders around me saw maybe this gift in me that I wasn't really recognizing. And because I wasn't driven by the money and more by the impact, I stayed in my role. And it was one Tuesday afternoon. So this is like, again, I say like my life was completely impacted first by my parents, then my desire to be better, then my students. And then after my students, we were coming home from feeding the homeless, in which we did every Tuesday faithfully for 9 years. We also met the princess of Duchess there, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle? We met her there. Yes. She was filming in Toronto. And when she was filming her Suits show.
Oh, the show that she had, that she was on. Okay, wow.
She actually volunteered at the same homeless shelter that we volunteered, and she did show up faithfully. And I remember after a month, because she just looked so small and she had a baseball cap, and I remember talking with her and I was just like, just how committed she was. And I mean, that aside, what I was trying to say is we was coming home from that homeless shelter on Tuesday. And and like I said, my classroom was very unique. Like every morning we sat in a circle, we checked in before we went to our desks. And I had my own national anthem, which was at that time, it was I Can by Nas. And that song talks about how we can be anything. And as long as we work hard at it, and we are disciplined, we can be anything we dream in life. And it is a very inspiring song. I actually played it to my students last week, and they loved it. And they always ask me, Miss, can we listen to that song again?
Yes.
We're coming home from feeding the homeless, and we would take the subway station, the subway. We were at the subway station, and there was the TVs in the subway station. And it had showed the earthquake in Haiti. It was Tuesday, January 10th, 2010. I remember that because it was a Tuesday, right?
Wow.
And we were coming home from feeding the homeless. And I am a very positive teacher. I'm silly, I'm funny, I'm outgoing. And I always tell them, we can do anything we put our minds to. Right? We don't let the fear get in our way. We don't say we can't. What do we want to do? And let's just start doing it. And that was what I would always say to them, like, we can do anything.
Yes.
And they saw me sad. Miss B doesn't really get too sad. And I was kind of looking at that screen, and I knew absolutely nothing. Alex says I Can is going to be our new anthem for this song.
I was thinking about that. She's reading my mind.
And I said, and I was just looking, and again, I knew nothing about Haiti, absolutely nothing, except for I had heard that it was a very, very poor place and, very dangerous and corrupt. And I saw that screen, and I saw that the poorest country in the world got hit with the hardest, biggest natural disaster that ever happened. So I was just sad. And they said, well, Miss B, what is wrong with you? You're never sad. And I said, you see that on the TV? I said, there are kids in this world that wish they could go to school, that wish they had, a group home or a mental health hospital or the stupid police and a stupid teacher and all the things that you guys hate. There are kids in this world that would die for those opportunities. Literally on the subway coming home. The students looked at me And they said, Miss B, you tell us every morning we could do anything we put our minds to. Why don't we put our minds to building a school for those kids that want to go to school?
Oh, wow.
And just like that, again, unintentionally, never thought about it. I said, okay, let's do it. You want to do it? We'll figure. As soon as we literally got off the subway, went home, and we started to Google how to build a school in Haiti. Right? I'm not lying to you. That's what we did. And with my students and I believed in the dream that we could do this. And then we eventually, because it wasn't like we could send letters home to parents or we could go fundraise in big schools and have bake sales. We had to be very creative in how we tried to get our message and our funding to be able to do this. And over time, we learned that it was possible. We learned we could do it. We learned we needed X amount of dollars, and we put ourselves out there. And my kids were so nervous because they had to go and do assemblies and they had to talk on the radio and sometimes on TV. But we did it. We did it.
It stretched them. It did stretch them.
And months later, I jumped on a plane and I flew to Haiti. And again, I already chose to live a life of, service to my students, to the most at-risk students, to some of again, every day I'm walking into jail. I'm walking in the biggest mental health hospitals. I'm working with the government on the highest cases of abuse, neglect, trauma, some of the biggest cases of mental health. So I've seen a lot of the grimy, sad stories that are not being told, that are not being shown. And every day I'm putting my life in this situation. And nothing could have prepared me for when I went to go represent myself in my classroom in Haiti. And I say, just like my students changed my life forever, just like my students got me in Haiti, Haiti as a country changed my life and my purpose forever. And when you see a country like that, and you're talking 11 million people living on top of each other on a small little island, and over 1 million of them were killed. There was rebel all over the place. There was millions of people living in tents. It was a scene that I had never ever seen in my life. And this is where the service work really happens. I don't even know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to roll up my sleeves and throw myself in there. And, my mentor's like, Serena, don't look up, because if you look up, it's such a catastrophe. You feel like you can't do anything about it. But if you just focus on your little corner, eventually everybody's little corners are going to add up to something. And, for 3 weeks, I just put in the work. I remember coming home from my first trip in Haiti and closing my apartment door and crying like I had never cried before, because how lucky am I? How privileged am I to have this beautiful life, And my greatest gift is to try to bring people into their backyard, show them the homelessness, show them the food insecurities, show them the number of women who are being, hurt and raped and abused on a daily basis, show them just what's happening in their backyard, let alone the world. It changes you. It changes you as an individual. And when you see what is out there, your heart, the odd time I've taken people out there and it's been so extreme that they're like, I'm happy I saw it, but I never want to see it again. But that impacts you forever. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's my life story, my bravery, maybe my courage brought me to all these walk of lives that I would never experience if I didn't just trust the process and trust in whatever was happening to be whatever I could be in whatever capacity that meant, because I didn't even try to define it. For others, I want to share that gift with as many people in the world. As many people in the world, because honestly, you're going to look at your life and all the things that you took for granted and all the things that you might not have been grateful for or even understood. All of a sudden, you're going to appreciate your life in a new light. And through that appreciation, you're going to lend a helping hand to others. And that's why service work is so important. You know, I didn't think I was a service worker. I didn't think I was a community worker. I didn't think I could be a CEO or, you know, a founder of a charity. But in putting myself out there and challenging myself and challenging others to think outside our boxes, slowly we are shifting the communities that we're impacting, right?
Yes,
we are starting, because my background was in education, because that's where it began for me. I feel like that's where it can begin for everybody. So if HHH can come into your school, come into your work, come into your program, and just teach you those life skills and social skills associated with helping others, because in all honesty, in helping others, we're really helping ourselves. So this is a life understanding and purpose for yourself that just so happens to be transformative to the world. And if we can send that message to humanity, to people, then we, all the HHH family, donor, friends, communities, and we continue to pass on that light and that gift, we will, and we are changing the world.
Amazing. Well, before we sign off, can you believe it? The hour is gone. It was like boom. But you can't help it because there's just so much love in this show as people are watching us right now. Because I just see people putting comments. I'm like, yay, yay, yay. Help Humanity show will be coming on weekly. And I want to leave this one video before we really sign off, because I want you to see the hearts. We're, like I told you at the beginning, you're going to see the hearts. Not just Serena started off because she's the CEO, the queen, royalty of HHH, but we have so many other people that's going to be coming on this show, and you're going to be seeing their hearts and why they do what they do. But just listen to this inspirational message first, and then we'll be right back.
Although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, you know, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have, to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today.
My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
See, what can you say? Right there, take a pause, everybody, and just see how wonderful Help Heal Humanity is helping the world, and see how this wonderful, wonderful queen has started off by saying, I can. She says she can, and that's what she tells everybody else. All you have to do is just say, I can. Right, Serena?
Yeah. That's
Serena,
it.
that's
and,
it.
and that's it. Like I always say, we'll get into this week after week. You don't try to figure it out. Don't try and have the whole plan, and don't try and figure out. Just go for it. You're going to learn as you're doing, and that's it. I do want to say again, thank you to you, Barbara, for making this happening. Thank you especially to the US board who has been supporting all of this. Thank you to all the people who are watching. And even like you saw in the last video, that was Help Heal Humanity working in partnership with Chef Gordon Jagger from Feed It Forward, which is a massive organization here in Canada. And that's what this show is going to be doing. So yes, today we focused on HHH and how we got started, but all the next shows will be talking about, the journey of Help Heal Humanity. We will be focusing on all other charities that we've worked in partnership with, or we will be working in partnership with, to highlight the great things that people are doing in the world. Because not all of us are perfect. None of us will be perfect. But if we all share that unique talent within ourselves, with each other, and with the world, we will together help heal humanity.
Yes. So with that, everybody, we're going to see you next Thursday. We come on 9. I got to get the time zones right. 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing Serena's of time. And just be here. We come on every Thursday. Starting today was our first show. We brought the queen on. So explain where it birthed at, where HHH was birthed. And it birthed from one person because she wanted to make a difference. She's seen something that needed to be changed. And I'm telling you, if you take that step, like Serena just said, just take that one step, then you can bring others to take the other steps with you, and you will see a change in the world that we need right now. Serena, thank you so much again, lady. I love co-hosting with you, and we will be back next week.
I know, and next week we're going to have like 3 different guests, right? So that's the thing.
It's going to be crowded. That's good.
We're going to start having charity parties. And the thing is, again, that's what it is all about, is all of us just, if you don't know where to begin, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're struggling, if you're having problems, whatever it is, just tune into this show every Thursday. And we are talking about anything and everything, how to get started, what to do when you mess up, and just how to keep going and how to come out of your hurt, your trauma by serving.
I had to play a little music with that.
Well, it's getting late, so we gotta get to bed. Everybody go to bed. Go to sleep.
Thank you, Serena, so much. Everybody, like we said, we'll be on next Thursday, and we'll see you next week.